Google just announced a bunch of different updates to cold email and how cold email is gonna work in 2024. And a lot of people read through the update notes and started spreading this crazy misinformation about the fact that cold email is dead, you can never cold email again, blah, 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 dumb stuff. So first of all, we need to understand what the updates really are and cover like why it actually doesn't matter at all and why it actually will just make you way more money. Like I believe that because of these updates, 2024 is going to easily be biggest year for lead generation agencies, and you have the biggest opportunity to make more money as a lead generation agency. The first thing we need to understand, okay, what kind of updates did Google publish with their new systems? I'm not gonna go through like every single technical update note. You can literally just Google it and like figure it out yourself if you want to like geek out on the tech and geek out on the specifics, but mainly they just announced that from 2024 February, you need to have your domains authenticated. So you need to have DMARC, SPF, DKIM. You need to provide a one-click unsubscribe link. And third thing you need to do is you can't send spam emails to personal email accounts. If your IQ is like higher than your shoe size, you probably like already understand that that doesn't matter at all. So what happens a lot of times is, let's say that this is January 2022. Here's like the time goes on, and here's, let's say, December 2023. What happens a lot of times is, for example, a time like this comes and Google publishes some updates. People who have no understanding of how the actual technology and how everything works out, they go through the updates and they start like spreading FUD, and they're like, cold email is going to be dead. And then like through like 2, 3, 4 months, people are gonna think that cold email doesn't work. Like not people, but like beginners, people who are trying to get into the space. And then it takes like 2 to 3 months on average for someone to figure out that, hey, it actually doesn't matter, and life goes on and everything goes super smooth. Life is great for like 2 to 3 months. And then once again, Google comes out, publish some kind of updates. And then once again, it's not gonna work anymore. Cold email is dead. Same thing happens again. People figure out that, okay, it doesn't actually matter, or if it matters, people figure out a workaround for it. Throughout the years of me doing cold email, I have seen the pattern of cold email is gonna be dead probably like 20 times. There has been so many times when people make a post that, Google just released these updates, you can't do cold email anymore. And then like a month goes by, like nothing actually changes, or something changes and you just need to start doing something differently. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I love the fact that people are doing that, because as someone who pretty much earns his whole income from the ability to do cold email, I think it's absolutely fantastic if most people or other people think that you can't do cold email anymore, that cold email is dead. Because think about it. Let's say that there is a market of 1,000 lead generation agencies. Some of them are early, some of them are already established, some of them are doing 10,000 a month, 100,000 a month, and then there's this market of B2B companies that are looking to buy these services. And then when this FUD comes in, or this misinformation comes around, it obviously scares people here. So let's say that 200 people quit and we are left with 800 lead generation agencies. What happens to the 800 lead generation agencies left? Automatically, supply decreases. And a lot of these B2B companies, let's say they were already doing cold email, and because of the updates, they don't know how to do it perfectly anymore. Demand also increases. So what happens when supply decreases and demand increases? The stuff becomes more valuable. For example, diamonds, if people believe that, okay, there's not many diamonds in the world, people think that, okay, it's super rare and it's super valuable, I need to get a diamond. So the demand increases and supply decreases. That's why the diamonds are so high priced. So that's what also happens to lead generation agencies or any type of agencies who work in similar industries. So as long as you are in a place where you have up-to-date information on the latest protocol on how to do cold email, you're gonna be good forever. Like you will know how to always bypass it. There's always a workaround. I have never seen a case when there is not a workaround, but your demand increases. So you're gonna automatically, without changing the offer or anything, you're always gonna be able to charge more for your money because less people are doing it or are able to do it. Less people have the protocol. For example, in Agent Velocity, we have like 250 people actively running a lead generation agency. And a lot of these people are like extremely technical and super smart. And if you take this whole group, the millions of emails combined everyone sends, and all of these smart people, like we will immediately know how to bypass it. This doesn't mean that you need to be in our program to get this information or our community, but this is just an example that there's like a lot of smart people who make a lot of money doing this out there. They will always figure it out. And then if you're lucky, you will also get the information. I'm mostly sharing it on my YouTube for free. But what you also need to understand, as a lead generation agency, you need to understand that your value proposition doesn't come from the ability to set up email campaigns. There's like obviously multiple aspects to the business. Like there's obviously first the technology, then there's the creative, and then there's third part is like strategy. And a lot of people like assume that this is like their thing, like this is what makes them the money. They think that they are valuable to the world or to the market because they can set up a cold email campaign. Like they know how to authenticate the domains and scrape the lead list and like buy a cold email software, but like that's like completely wrong. You can go to YouTube and you can learn this in literally 15 minutes. This is not valuable. Like if this is your whole value prop, you're pretty much just an extra pair of hands. You're just a virtual assistant and you're gonna get paid accordingly, which is pretty much nothing. Where really the money comes from is this, the creative side and the strategic side. On the strategic side, how can we identify like the most profitable ICP? What kind of an outbound strategy should we run to get the most amount of replies? How do we combat with different time frames and different seasons in the market? How do we scale these campaigns? What do we focus on? What do we eliminate on? Creative side, like how do we position the offer? Like what kind of value props we bring out? How do we do market research? What kind of angles do we use? What kind of campaigns do we run? Like this is all just creative work. Figuring out how to position the offer, what kind of angle you write, how do you write the copy, who do you reach out, what pain point do you target? Like how do you identify the perfect niche? What is your whole strategy to the campaign? Like this is what makes the money. This is what like separates like bad lead generation agencies and good lead generation agencies. If this is what makes you the money, technology doesn't really matter at all, which means you could pretty much have these two things in check and you could have any technology to run the campaigns on. You could do cold calling, you could do LinkedIn, you could do direct mail, you could do door to door, you could do smoke signals. Because if you have the creative side, if you know how to position the offer, if you know the angles to use, if you know how to identify the best ICP, if you can combat everything happening in the market, it doesn't matter how do you deliver the message. You can do it in any environment and it's not gonna matter. You don't get paid for being able to set up a cold email campaign in this day and age. Maybe 3 years ago, maybe that was valuable back then. But times are different. The markets evolve, markets get more sophisticated. People already know how to do that stuff. So your value prop can't anymore be like the technical aspect of things. Your value prop needs to be the fact that you can identify the markets, you can build up the processes, you can build up the CRMs, you can do all of this. That's where you get paid. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter what method you use to communicate the message. It can be a cold email, it can be a whatever. Everything summarized that I just rambled through. If you saw the Google's updates and you thought that, okay, like this is gonna really affect my business, I can't do cold email anymore, or maybe you were thinking about starting lead generation agency or something else, and you saw these updates and you were like, I'm not gonna do that. You have nothing to worry about. The higher the barrier to entry becomes with cold email, the more money you are going to make because your information and experience is so valuable. So yeah, that's just something that I think was super important for you to understand. Accept the fact that the only way you'll actually make it work is by adapting and not being a complete dumbass. Obviously, go to agentvelocity.io if you want to build a B2B lead generation agency and scale it from $0 to $10,000 a month in the next 3 months. Or if you want something for free, you can go to leadgenkit.io. It's our free course that absolutely slaps. We used to sell it for a few $100, but now it's free, at least for now. Might take it down at some point. So go check that out as well. Like the video, subscribe, do all of those crazy things. And yeah, let's make some cold email cash.